What is going on, guys? I hope you're out there enjoying your quarantine lockdown sessions. Hopefully this video out here will make things a little easier, and the reason being is today is going to be the start of, as I mentioned in the past, a brand new series. So if you haven't already been up to date with like what I do on this channel, I recently concluded an internship game series where I went out, applied to internships, and I got one, and I'm still applying, and I'm hopefully getting some more coming soon. But the one complaint that I got from my feedback from my different interviewers and such was that my technical knowledge wasn't up to par compared to the other candidates. This is purely because like when I'm applying for tech roles and technology and engineering and stuff, they like and they strongly value coding, programming, projects that you've taken up in your own time that aren't like specific to university, and just things that show that you're more competent in the technical realm. So me being an engineering student, I haven't really done much coding in terms of I haven't really made anything. Whereas of course computer scientists or people that are just enjoy tech more than I do have made like websites or apps or such and such and such. So today I figured now that I've got some things out of the way, and now that I've got some free time on my hands, I'm going to find a way to bridge that gap. I'm going to find a way to make an app that, of course, if I do it for YouTube for you guys, I can show this to employers and people can, you can tell I'm not lying because like it's here, it's documented, it's all there. So that's the aim of this series. I'm gonna go through, hopefully in my head it will take no more than a month, maybe 2 months, which I can do in about 6 to 8 videos. But of course this is someone who's never made an app before, so I have no idea what to expect. For me as an individual, I'm fortunate enough to have a mentor who works in the tech industry, and I've talked to him about it a little bit, and the first thing he said to do was, before you look at any code, before you look at any software or anything, write down a plan of like each step that you need to do to make sure your game can like run. And one important bit of advice he said to me was that make sure at each stage the game is playable. So like don't do half of it today then finish it the next day or something. Make sure that you make it. Let's give an example. Let's say like Call of Duty, for example. The first stage of the game should be like a square that can shoot and like take out other squares. That's like a game done. Even though it's not Call of Duty, it's not like Fortnite or anything, but the concept is there and that game is playable. You can like shoot other squares. Next, you might want to do the artwork and make it so it all looks good. So it could be like an army soldier on a white background shooting other army soldiers. Then you want to do the other background. Then you want to have different guns, and make sure the game is always it's always a game, from every step of the way. So I went out, I bought a whiteboard, and I have a very rough interpretation of like jobs that I need to do. Of course, before I start, I'm going to send this over to him and get some feedback and find out what else I need to do. But this includes, making the sprites, making 3 continuous lanes, because I should say actually the game I want to make is similar to Flappy Bird, but it's going to be like on 3 distinct planes. I guess kind of like Temple Run as well, but without turning left, turning right and stuff. So you kind of just go from left to right, and then you go up and down and move and get out of the way of objects to an endpoint. So the first point of the game, I'm just going to have to make, I haven't really thought about it, but it's going to be like taking the sprite from here to there, obviously moving at a consistent speed. So the idea of that concept would be like taking the character from here to there in a set period of time, and it won't necessarily be much moving about. I might have a way to turn certain lanes off before I put additional sprites in that will destroy your character. Fast forwarding from there, I might make some of them could be like lethal ones that kill you straight away, others could slow you down, others could be points, and then I want to make it endless, so you just keep going and going and going until the very end, and then I'll keep evolving on that until eventually I've got something concrete, something that looks good, that sounds good. Of course I want to do a soundtrack, artwork, and I want to do a lot of things. But of course in the short term, as I said, make sure the game is playable and then go from there, adding bits and bits as I go along. So the goal is that within the next, I want to say 3 to 6 months, I want to have enough knowledge to be able to make simple games in a much shorter period of time. Obviously at the moment I've got university stuff and jobs and YouTube stuff going on, but it would be nice to know I have the technical skills at some point to just sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to make an app, and then 1 day, 2 day, maybe a week or so done. And yeah, I mean the ultimate goal is to be better at it. The motivation behind it is to improve my technical skills for applications, for jobs. So this time, come September, later this year, I can apply to more advanced roles with more advanced skills and be able to carry myself better in an interview. So without further ado, yeah, let's get creative. So the whole point of this introduction video is more or less just to give you guys a brief overview of what I'm planning to do throughout the process of the series. So of course I mentioned, like I briefly read through what I have on my whiteboard that I bought, but as I said, it's going to be making the sprite, having 3 continuous lanes. I want to have the sprite move across at a consistent speed, be it like 1 frame a second or whatever. I haven't really figured out the technical details yet. And then at some point I'm going to block out 2 lanes at a time. I'm going to allow enough space for like 3 sprite lengths, so you have time to go up and down, and then it'll be 2 and then 1 as the game gets harder. But in the early stages, like right now, making the game playable, it's just going to be 3 spaces apart. And then I want to randomize the blockages, so instead of me individually programming the things to be here and here and here and here, in which case you can learn the game and then just always win, it's going to have to randomize each time you restart the game. So they're going to be put in by the system instead of by me. All I've got to do is design it, and then I have to have it run consistently. Making each step harder is going to be, of course, as I said, bringing it closer. I could also make the sprite move quicker. I could add additional levels in terms of like colors in the background. Could indicate like when you pass 100 points it could change to yellow, which indicates a faster speed. Or yeah, and as I mentioned before, I could also have sprites that some of them could be fatal, that you crash and die, some can slow you down, and it's more about adding different features to make it more and more interesting as I go through. For the most part, it's just going to be an endlessly running game, and I feel like as I go through, I'm gonna, as I said, these are some potential improvements. I'm going to put a soundtrack out, I'm going to put an artwork on it and add different levels. And then, yeah, hopefully later on we can make something more interesting. It'll be cool to make a bigger game later on in time. But what I'm going to do now is transfer that stuff onto Trello. I'm going to make, Trello's like a to-do list app, but it's very comprehensive. It's very good for, I feel like, this sort of thing. It was recommended by my mentor and one of my friends who does computer science. So it's obviously something that's prominent in the CS field. But I'm gonna, yeah, make a Trello board, put all these things in, like the need to do, doing, done, you know, in progress, whatever. I'm gonna have descriptions for each task, so I know exactly what needs to be done for each block. I'm not gonna be like make a game and then like put that in done. It's gonna be like make character, make background, make character move, and then individual steps. And my mentor advised that I have each block be a game point, so like a complete game point. The first one could be like create endless runner, so it goes from, it endlessly runs from here to here, that's a game. Next point, add obstacles, and then things like that. So that will be, that's my interpretation of what his feedback was. Of course I'm going to go through it, as I said, on Trello, add him to the list and see if I can get some feedback. And then the next addition to this will be obviously sitting down, learning how to use, I'm going to use Unity, actually I should mention, I'm going to use Unity, coding, and C#. So if there's something you care about, of course, that makes it a lot more interesting for you. But for next time, we're going to be hopefully putting some code into the system and seeing where we can go from there. So as of right now, that's what I've got for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully we can enjoy this series as a whole. And yeah,
I didn't
in a
catch
bit.
that. Could you try again?
Go away, Siri, man. I said series. Peace.